Se supone que el hermano trabajaba en una fábrica de salmones, de enlatados y no sé qué, y empieza, y te va contando la historia. Es que yo lo flipo, tío. ¿Estás ya?
He'd become something greater than a king.
¿Van apareciendo peces? Lo que pasa es que se ha ido haciendo más grande lo que es la historia del príncipe ese se ha ido haciendo más grande. Pero antes se veía la mesa donde estaba trabajando en la fábrica y ahora solo se ve esto.
But the real
Muy
Lewis
turbio.
was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace.
Te está dando a entender como que tenía un trastorno, como que se creía
My imagination is as real as my body.
muy
he told me.
importante.
It was hard to argue with him.
Ahora. Ya está. Súper emparanoyante. No, en serio, tienes que ver este juego desde el principio. Y te da a entender como que todos tienen una maldición que mueren muy jóvenes. Pues mira, ¿no ves? Este es el árbol genealógico, ya he visto todas las historias de los que están dibujados. La Molly esa es la primera, la de la izquierda. Esa dice que se despertó un día con hambre y que se comió la zanahoria del conejo, se comió la pasta de dientes, unas vallas que había en el baño y no sé qué. Y que vio un pájaro que se lo quería comer por la ventana, fue a abrir y se convirtió en un gato, le persiguió, se cayó del árbol, se convirtió en una lechuza, cogió dos conejos. El primero se lo comió de un mordisco, el segundo se estaba como atragantando y se convirtió en un tiburón. Luego te come una foca siendo un tiburón por el mar. Y luego te transforma en una especie de pulpo raro y te comes dos marineros. Y te metes debajo de tu cama y te da a entender como que no sé qué, que los dos sabéis que estás delicioso, no sé qué. La Bárbara esa era un juguete roto, que hizo varias películas siendo pequeña. Y luego no la quería nadie porque ya le cambió la voz y no sé qué. Y le hacen como una broma en Halloween, que ese capítulo está guapo porque es tipo cómic y te ponen de fondo la música de Halloween. Y, y al final resulta que no, que es que le atacan zombies de verdad, o sea, zombies, monstruos de verdad. Y nació el día de Halloween y murió el día de Halloween, del 44 al 60, todo súper joven. El Calvin ese que se creía que era dicen que es muy cabezón y que quería volar y no sé qué, y se pone a dar vueltas con el columpio hasta que da la vuelta entera y se va hacia el mar. El San ese está con su hija cazando, cazan un ciervo y va a hacer un selfie, se pone a la de ciervo, el ciervo mueve la cabeza y le tira para un barranco para abajo. Son todos muy... el Gregory ese le dejan en la bañera, dice que tiene mucha imaginación, te pone a jugar con una rana, la madre viene un momento y dice, venga, que ya te quita el tapón y luego tú con la rana vuelves a activar el agua, pero ya sube mucho, te ahogas, te da a entender eso. El Gus ese tiene la muerte de Benjamin Franklin. El Milton ese está desaparecido, eso no se sabe qué pasó con él. Ese dice que lo que ves es que ha pintado una puerta de negra y no sé qué, y como que la ha traspasado y ya está. Y la Edith esa eres tú. Y ahora estoy en la historia de Lewis, de la izquierda del todo.
I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker. He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
A ver, ahora está el Edith aquí, el Lewis aquí como imaginándose la historia esa, mientras sigue ocurriendo.
I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions. Including the wise Caliban who'd insisted on advising him.
Por la cara. Pedazo de trópolo se mola esto.
His queen waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do.
Hostia, pero eso es de que llevo en Madrid, no lo escucho, tío. Pues es una guillotina, por Dios, que no soy gilipollas. Bueno, ya sabemos cómo murió este. Metió la cabeza en lo de las hormonas.
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Me queda Edith aún.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd
¿Cómo?
stayed. But I understand why we left.
O sea que todo el vocabulario de mi viejo era Carlos.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind. What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner. But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
Mira, un buen leyer.
whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
Hostia, no solo una puta mierda.
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
Mi padre, ¿verdad? Todo eso que ha usado lo usaba mi padre. Que has dicho lo usaba mi padre en todo.
Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning, okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. For a while, I wandered.
El Fari era
I
gitano.
started seeing things.
El cuadro.
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by.
Hostia,
My mom didn't like to talk about it.
privar. ¿Privar viene del gitano?
She started getting sick a lot.
Ya.
She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you.
Y me piro.
I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this.
If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you. And tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now...
Hostia, no me jodas que esto es que está en el coño y esto se
things
está
didn't
pariendo,
work out
tío.
that way.
No me lo creo. No me lo creo. No me lo creo.
This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Acabo de salir por un... Pues supone que era un túnel, pero al final era claramente un coño. Madre mía, qué juego, colega. No sé quién ha hecho esto, pero... Yo creo que este juego es un... Es un... ¿Cómo se dice? Un tributo a los Kennedy. Sí, porque los Kennedy tienen la maldición esa, ¿no? Que morían todos. Pues yo creo que es un poco eso. ¿Eh? ¿Eh? No, eso ha sido las dos últimas historias. La del hermano y la de la abuela. Sí, sí.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin. And that he never talked about him. I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
How I want to remember my
Ahora para un
brother.
trofeo tengo que
By
repetir
Sam.
esta historia y no sé por qué.
The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it. My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Sam! Calvin! Dinner's ready! Coming!
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that,
Calvin! I'm not gonna tell you again!
maybe if the wind hadn't picked up,
No, no se lo voy a repetir.
then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother. The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing. After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room. Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again. The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
Pues ya estaría. Que la historia de Dawn, pues,